Welcome to the second video in my three-part series on anger. What is it, and how should we deal with it? I'm Benjamin Voiles. Let's go. In my last video, I told you that your anger is rooted in the feeling of being powerless. And I told you that power is responsibility. Power is not money, it's not popularity, it's not intelligence, and it's not control. Power is taking responsibility. When you choose to take responsibility for your situation, you're choosing to be powerful. You are deciding that you have the ability to respond to whatever has happened, is happening now, or will happen in the future. Many don't want to take responsibility because whatever happens, it's your fault. And that's true. If things go poorly, it is your fault. But that also means you can do something about it. You can resolve the situation. If it isn't your fault, if it isn't your responsibility, then you're powerless. You're a victim. You're not the cause of your circumstances. You're a consequence of them. Now, I'm not really going to go any deeper into victimhood in this video, but I do want to bring up one question about victimhood. Who decides who's a victim? Who decides if John is a victim, or Susie, or Frank, or Lisa? Who decides if you're a victim? Can I decide if you're a victim? No. The only person who can decide that you're a victim is you. The only person who can decide you're powerless is you. Okay, back to anger. Every emotion is a signal. It's a signal helping you navigate your life. And many of us struggle to embrace and utilize our emotions because we don't understand what the emotion is telling us. We don't understand the signal. One of my goals is to help you understand what your emotions are trying to tell you. So, what is anger trying to tell you? What's the signal of anger? I told you in the previous video that anger is basically a conflict within you of two voices, one saying, change it, and the other saying, I can't change it. They're basically saying, take responsibility, and I can't take responsibility. Whether you're annoyed, irritated, frustrated, or enraged, anger is a signal telling you that you're feeling powerless and that you're not taking responsibility for something. And it's just a signal informing you about your present circumstances. You don't have to do anything about it. It's totally up to you how you respond to the signal. Whenever you feel angry, ask yourself, what do I feel powerless about? What am I not taking responsibility for? I can tell you from personal experience, just by adopting these two questions can change your life. If you fully accept this, it will completely transform your experience with anger. Now, so far, this has been pretty simple and straightforward, but assuredly there are times when this doesn't feel right. When you're sure your anger has a legitimate cause that isn't related to you not taking responsibility. Hold on to that idea. We'll get to that in a bit. Why don't we take responsibility? Now, if everything I've said so far is true, then the resolution to anger is pretty simple. Take responsibility. But there's a really strong voice inside you saying, I can't take responsibility. That's the whole reason that anger is there. It's that voice that thinks you're powerless. But is that voice correct? Is it true that you're powerless, that you can't take responsibility? Or is it actually that you don't want to take responsibility? It's easy to say or think you'll take responsibility for something, but it's not easy. It's often very difficult to take responsibility. Well, for starters, how do you take responsibility? You hear it on TV, the news, on social media, all kinds of places. Even from your parents or teachers, you heard, take responsibility. But what does that even mean? You might hear a politician or someone else say they take full responsibility for what happened. It usually feels like hollow words. When most people say it, they usually mean they'll take the blame. But blame isn't responsibility. The word responsibility literally means ability to respond. So when you're taking responsibility, you're claiming that the ability to respond belongs to you. You're claiming that ability for yourself. Now, saying you take responsibility isn't truly claiming it. Claiming it is actually responding to something, actually exercising that ability to respond. And the first step of any response is making a choice. Firstly, the choice to respond, and secondly, the choice on how to respond. It's in the choices we make that we shape our lives and the world around us. Ultimately, you take responsibility by making choices. Imagine you're driving to a job interview. You're a bit nervous, but you're right on time. Suddenly you realize that you forgot to brush your teeth. The last thing you want is bad breath during a job interview. At this point, you might start feeling powerless. If you stop for gum, you'll be late. If you don't stop, your breath will stink. You have to make a choice, but it isn't clear which choice is best. If, however, you had left your house a little early and you had extra time to stop for gum, you wouldn't feel powerless. You'd make the choice to stop without hesitation. In one case, the choice is easy, so taking responsibility is easy, and you don't get angry. But in the other case, the choice is difficult. What if you make the wrong choice and you don't get the job? In that case, taking responsibility is hard, and you'll likely get a bit angry. In this example, the reason it's hard to make a choice is that it's not clear which choice will serve you best. But there are many reasons it might be tough to make a choice, and therefore tough to take responsibility and resolve your anger. In the future, I'll go into some of the other reasons that it's hard to make a choice sometimes. Now, I told you earlier that when you're feeling angry, to ask yourself what you feel powerless about and what you're not taking responsibility for. And since taking responsibility is done by making choices, it really boils down to a very simple question. What choice am I not making? When you find the answer to this, you can make the choice or not. Just because you know why you're angry doesn't mean you're ready and willing to make the choice required to resolve the issue. In the end, it's up to you how you move through this world. You don't have to take responsibility for everything, not at all. But if you're getting angry at something, a part of you wants to take responsibility for it. Well, that's it for this video, the second of 3 videos on anger. If you've appreciated this video, please hit the like button. If you want to hear more, subscribe. I really want to know what people think about these concepts, so please comment below. And if you know of anyone who would be interested in this stuff, please share it. Until next time, I'm Benjamin Voiles.